Hi, this is Leslie Boudreau with BVOH, and I'm here with Dorian Diani, one of our partners. And today we're going to talk about how to best prepare for an interview. Hey,
Hey,
Dorian.
Leslie. Hi.
So, what's the very first thing that you advise to do when getting ready for an interview?
First thing I tell everybody is to know your own resume. Really, what you're about to do is give a presentation on yourself. More than half the conversation is going to be about you and your experience. So, really important to go back and review everything that's on your resume, technical items, projects, initiatives that you've run, and also think about why you moved from one company to the next or even one role to the next within the same company. So being able to tell your story in a clear and concise way. And I would practice saying it out loud because that's also something that people are not necessarily comfortable with the first few times that they're doing it.
Right. So 5 years ago, 15 years ago, it's all fair game.
Yeah. And the other thing is if they hit you with a question right out of the gate, which they usually will, like, so tell me about yourself or tell me about your
Right.
experience. I usually recommend countering that with, sure, where would you like me to start? It's
Mm.
a really great leading indicator of what's important to that interviewer, what's
Mm-hmm.
relevant to them. And you can just start there, work your way backwards, or start from the beginning and work your way forwards.
Right. I think that question, tell me about yourself, that makes me think about like thinking about the job description and doing that preparation in advance. How do you advise candidates to use the job
Yeah.
description prior to an interview?
Yeah, so I highly recommend, especially right now, people are doing a lot of video and phone interviews to start with. I would highly recommend printing out a copy of your resume, using that to take some notes on, draw some notes in the margins around where does your experience align with the requirements of the actual job. So if there are things in there that you have done before, you want to make sure that you're highlighting those things and highlighting that you have expertise there. And so that part is really important. If there's things that you haven't done before, you can then start to think about what have I done that's similar, or what have I done before where if I didn't know how to do it, I got myself up to speed quickly and I was able to overcome that challenge. I think those are the important things to look at.
That's great advice. And then that way, if somebody just asks you the open-ended question, tell me about yourself, you can, talk about the things that are going to be relevant to them, which is actually not going to be every single thing in your background since the beginning of time.
Right, right.
What other questions do you think that you should anticipate being asked?
Sure. So aside from technical questions, the other side is going to be behavioral. So, big one is, why are you interested in this role? Why are you interested in this company? Those just take some genuine thought beforehand. Right? What was compelling enough about this role for you to put your resume forward? Why are you interested? How does it align with your broader career plan and your broader career goals? I think that's important too. People want to know that you're there for the right reasons. They want to know that you've thought about it. And they also want to know that what they have to offer actually aligns with what it is that you want. Not just that you can do the job, but that you genuinely want to be there and you want to do that job.
Yeah, that's great advice. That goes such a long way. And it gives hiring managers confidence that, if they do end up getting the job, that they'll be there for the long term because it was really genuinely something that was, meaningful and important to them.
Yep.
What about other questions? I think like one of the things that slips candidates up sometimes is like thinking about why they're actually leaving in the first place, right?
All right. Yeah, absolutely. Really important to be direct and honest about why it is that you're either leaving your current company, why you left your last company, but making sure that you're focusing in on the positive and not dwelling too much on the negative. So really, a great way to do that is to say, look, I had a great experience at this company. I was there for X number of years. And if a change happened, you can say a change happened. If it was management turned over, if the company had to go through layoffs, whatever it might be, it's okay to say that you were affected in some way and you decided to look for a new opportunity. This particular opportunity was compelling to you for these reasons. And you can segue right from that into, again, why you're interested in that particular role, making it more about what you're moving towards, less about what you're moving away from.
Great. How about questions? I feel like most interviewers at the end of the conversation will ask you, "Hey, what questions do you have for me?" How do you
Yeah.
how do you advise people think about that ahead of time?
Yeah, so always think about and write down good questions. And as you're doing your research on the company, which is also important, making sure that you're reading up on their filings, reading up on any news articles related to the company, press releases that they've put out, and thinking about what are my questions about the company as a whole. What are my questions about this role? If you're talking with the hiring manager, what's the most challenging aspect of this position? What are some of the projects that you have sort of slated for the team in the coming X number of months, 6 to 12 months? What are the things that are keeping you up at night? Kind of the problems that you're facing with the team that you think you might need some extra assistance with. You have to measure these questions depending on who you're speaking with. If it's somebody that's not directly in your tactical group, then maybe it's a bigger, broader question. If you're talking with a CEO, how is the company positioned within the market? And amongst their competitors, things like that.
Yeah, I think it's important that your questions really be genuine and something that you're actually interested to learn about and that are relevant, for you in the role, but to your point, appropriate for the actual audience.
Absolutely.
So, interviews coming to a close. How would you suggest that you wrap things up?
Yeah, so if you're interested and you find yourself excited about the opportunity at the end of these interviews and conversations, it's important to say that. So really just telling them, look, I've had a great experience here, learned a lot meeting with you, meeting with the rest of the team members. I'm very interested in moving forward to next steps with the opportunity. If you have any questions for me, please let me know. If you'd like more information, happy to provide it.
So it's okay to just go ahead and say that? Tell them that you're interested and you want the job?
As long as you are interested. If for some reason you get to the end of the interview and you're not interested or you're not sure, you don't necessarily need to really come in strong with a closing statement like that. You don't want to lead it the wrong way, but it's important to do that even if you're not 100% sure. Because the last thing you want to do is not show that interest and have them eliminate you thinking, well, couldn't tell if they were interested or not. And before you have a chance to go get your questions answered or whatever it might be, do a little bit more research if you think you need that. That's okay.
Right.
But make sure that you're the one expressing, yes, I'd like to move forward here.
Yeah. There is nothing worse than being told that you're not being asked back for an interview because the hiring manager did not think that you were interested, because
Absolutely.
That's completely within your control.
Very common too. Happens quite a bit. And it's a natural tendency. People just need to remember that hiring managers want to hire people who are excited and interested in the opportunity. And it doesn't matter if they have the perfect resume and they fit perfectly. If they get a sense that they're going to be rejected, they may reject the person first.
Right. And then that actually kind of makes me think about thank you notes. Thank you notes today, appropriate, not appropriate?
Absolutely appropriate. It's okay to do it via email. That's going to be your most common form. It needs to be direct, genuine, concise. Speaking directly to the individual, I wouldn't do a copy and paste to multiple people that you met with. They will share that. They will know that it wasn't as genuine. I would reference something that you talked about with that interviewer, express your interest briefly. Don't go into an entire essay as to how your experience fits with the role. I think I've seen that too. Look, overall, a poorly written thank you note can definitely cost someone the opportunity. And it's really important to double and triple check for, grammar, typos, spelling, all of those things as well.
Perfect. Well, great. This has been great. Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
And until next time.